you to be, I want you to think about what I'm about to say, all right? I want you to think about what I'm about to say. When you think of the life that you're living right now and why you're here, I want you to think about this crazy concept that you are here on purpose and that you have a purpose and that God made you with a purpose. The universe created you with a purpose. You have a purpose, and inside of that purpose, you have a responsibility, and the responsibility is in what? The responsibility is for you to be all used up. For everything that is here, that is inside of you, the potential that is here, it's for you to leave it on this planet. It is not about you leaving as much money as you can in the bank or inside of a trust fund. It is not about you being the size that emulates a person that looks like they're part of the in crowd. It is not about you getting another degree. It is about you pushing yourself to and through your human limits. The number one way for you to do that right now is through your story. I want to remind you of something really important. Your story of why you began what you began and what has happened over the last 10 years, over the last 2 years, over the last 10 months, and over the last 2 days is the greatest weapon that you have in front of everything that you want to fight. But you have to use it daily, but you can only use it daily if you're armed with it, your story. There are over 7.5 billion people on this planet. There are 7.5 billion people on this planet. And I'm going to put this in 2 buckets. Because the truth is that you might be thinking to yourself, well, Tiffany, how the hell do I get around the whole world? And I'm not even telling you to get around the whole world, but I am telling you to consider the fact that you are the whole world for one person. You are the whole world for one person. I cannot accept you saying to yourself, well, I don't have the strength. You do have the strength. You need the confidence. I don't want to hear that you're busy. You are not as busy. You waste time. I know, because I was wasting time. You have this story, and the story dictates that you want to put your story underneath the roof of the person that you want to help. If you find yourself solving multiple problems, then eventually that will become more companies, more objectives, more things. And not so that you can be fancy, but so that you can be intentional and specific on how you help people. I want you to be intentional and specific on how you help people. Let me tell you really quickly why this story thing is so important. Because the average person is walking around with half-truths. They have versions of them. They have versions of them that they want to say that they are right now, when the truth is that it's a fraction of who they are, because they haven't actually lived out loud in all of the titles that they own or have today. Because the title that you had 10 years ago cannot be the same title today. I am not the same Tiffany today as I was 10, 12 years ago. You're different. Every single year, your responsibility is to do 2 things: understand the core story, and then to pick up all the smaller stories that go with it. You pick up the smaller stories that go with it because they become repetitive, concrete layers for you to add to the foundation to give you the confidence, because you need reminders. I need reminders. And then also so that you have past proof and current proof of why you believe what you believe, what has happened. Because as far as I'm concerned, whenever something happens on the planet, whenever you experience something, it becomes a fact. Nikki Cross, you thought before you went down this path of learning and mastering how to tell your story that you had something to say. But the truth is that today you have a new story that goes on top of that. Because you spent the last 2 years battling your health, walking through COVID longer and deeper than probably most of the COVID people have that are still alive. And not only are you here to tell the story, but you're about to have a record quarter and a record year. And that's while working at half capacity. That means that over the last 3 years, you've done something right. Nobody gets to $500,000 by accident. You don't get to $1 million. You sure as hell don't get to $1 million by accident. What is that story today? Who is it for? And how do you tell it? Your story has three very specific components, and what it's focused in on is getting you to identify and be absolutely clear to the market that you solve a very specific problem. And if you can articulate the specific problem that you solve, you can move mountains. But you've got to be clear on what the problem is, what the problem was, what it will be, and what it's been. You need to position yourself as the expert. But the expert really understands our industry. They also really understand the problem and problems that are happening and the people that they want to help. I want you to really understand the opportunity here, because there's 7.5+ billion people on the planet. And if right now you made a decision to sell a $2,000 item and you got 10 of those 7.5 billion people to say yes to you, you're going to walk through another door and you're going to be up $20,000. Did you hear what I just said? Think about what I said. Think about the gravity of it. You help 10 people. You charge them $2,000 for that help. You're up $20,000. There's 7.5 billion people. What are you waiting for? 10 is not even a 0.000001 on the spectrum of 7.5 billion people. Right now, at this very moment, you could totally make another $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. There is nothing stopping you from telling the person who you meet next that you have a product or service that is priced at $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. Right now, selling your way out is the way out of all of the problems, all of them. Maybe there's this one exception to that rule, and I'll accept that. But selling your way through is the answer. It is the answer to the team that you need. It is the answer to you living in a different city. It is the answer to you being in a place that inspires you. It is the answer to you no longer living in the cold, if that's what you're after. It is the answer to you buying a device to help your brother with cerebral palsy. It is the answer. The opportunity has been here for a really long time. I just feel like people are sleeping on it. I feel like, and I'm really concerned that you might be sleeping on it. And my whole point in doing this is don't sleep any longer. Simply because of this fact. One, you can make life a lot easier for yourself. And then you can make your life a lot easier because you'll be able to be fulfilled in helping other people. Nikki, one day I'd like to see you actually hire a CFO to do the CFO work and you just oversee what they're doing. I'd love for you to have a president for your companies. Life is too short for you to think, for all of us here, me included, life is too short for it to think this small. Life is also too short for you to focus on activities and things that don't help you get further. But if there was one thing that I'd say, man, this will make you totally way stronger, it is telling your story, and it is telling it every single day in some capacity. In a perfect world, if I were going to get through marketing, or if I were just going to get through the possibility of telling my story, I would be telling my story about 2 to 4 times on every single platform every day. And how would I do it? I might just take the same piece of content and upload it again in a way that's just slightly different. Why? Because if you have 1,000 friends on Facebook right now, 1,000 friends have not seen all of your content. They haven't seen it. Only 38 of them have. The other 964 people or 62 people, they have not. Oh, but I need it to be perfect and pretty and in a grid. No, you don't. You don't at all. You just need it to be out so the world could see. There are so many opportunities for you to tell your story, but it starts really with you telling the story. Forever in a day, I have gone through this process of creating content and walking through things. And I'm going to tell you, one of the greatest opportunities that I feel like that exists is the opportunity to just document what's happening. I don't want you to think that the answer is always in sitting in front of a camera, being picture perfect and giving the latest just like this. What if you just set up a camera tomorrow and documented what you were doing? Sharon, what if there was a camera facing you for the hour and a half as you did that person's hair? as you consulted on someone's challenge. You don't even need to talk to the camera at all. Why are you documenting it? So that other people can learn from it faster and so that you can move faster. Because other people can hold you accountable, but no one's going to hold no one's going to hold you as accountable as you can to yourself. That's the truth. Just document it. My reasoning in taking this time is because I don't want you to get so caught up in the nuances and mechanics of how to tell your story rather than you just getting started and telling your story. Because if you could just get started and telling your story, you're going to find that you're going to be so ahead of the game. Why you want to be ahead of the game? Because you need to win the game. I want you focused on winning the actual game. I want you focused on winning the game, not just playing it. Think about your level of self-awareness in this last 24 hours. Did you give every part of today like 100%? Like, think about the dreams and the things that you want, that you really, really, really want. Can you honestly say you gave that dream, the dreams, the you that you want so desperately? Can you really honestly say that you gave it 100%? Grade yourself. Was it 40%, 20%, 50%, 60%, 92%? How fast did you move? How creative did you get? How many stones did you turn over? How hard did you push in the day? Did you use all 10 hours to push as hard as you can? Did you even break a sweat? Listen, this is a moment about you. This is not about me and you. This is a moment about you. Because I don't really know how you can race towards your dream and you don't even break a sweat. That just don't even sound like it making a damn sense. I feel like in order to actually race towards your dream, you have to like break a sweat. Am I talking to myself? Anyone hear me? It's a serious question. Did you break a sweat? Did you break a sweat? You can't race to your dreams and you're working 5.5 hours. If you didn't break a sweat, you're not really racing. I don't believe you're trying to get anywhere. If you didn't break a sweat, like, be honest with you, did you break a sweat? Did you break a sweat? Great. Working 12 to 16 hours. How much of that was telling your story versus fulfillment? 12 to 16 hours a day. Did you break a sweat? This is a moment for yourself. I want you to look at the mirror yourself. This is not even about me and you. This is about you. Did you break a sweat? At some moment today, you should have been out of breath because you were moving so fast from one point to the next. Did anyone hear me? At some point today, you should have broken a sweat and you should have had a moment where you were out of breath, where you had to catch yourself because at some moment, not the whole day, you were moving that fast. Did you break a sweat because you were moving that fast, because you were swinging the bat, because you were intentionally swinging the bat? And I don't mean moving so fast because you're doing things. I mean moving so fast specifically towards the dream and the objective. In order to actually get to the destination, you've got to break through barriers, big barriers, barriers that life is putting in front of you, barriers that your health is putting in front of you, barriers that your color has put in front of you, barriers that have been put in front of you because you're a woman or because you're a man, because of your age. They're here. Those barriers are real. It doesn't give you the right or the ability to not get to the objective, though. You still have the responsibility of doing the damn thing and getting there. Did you break a sweat? Are you breaking a sweat every once in a while? Are you breaking a sweat just on Tuesdays, but the other 6 days you got to take a break, and on Saturdays you need the morning to rest? I want to see you swing the bat for 7 days a week for 2 to 3 months. Dead serious. Does that mean that you need to take a moment to breathe in between then? Sure. But you have a moment to ask yourself, but what is a moment? A moment is not a day where I have to lay in bed to get rest. If you're not breaking a sweat, there's no way that you can really be building something. What are you building? Because I don't want you to leave this moment thinking that the goal should just build something and then move on to the next. No, I want you to build something that's going to last. Can you really quickly in the chat, just really quickly, wherever you are, can you just put hashtag build something that lasts? Because that's really it. From my heart to yours. I don't want you to just build something. Build something that will last. Build something that'll last. That's what you want. Build something that will last. Break a sweat. If you know that you're capable of X, then go behave like that. Go build that. Anyone want to share with me something that they know really quickly, like really, really quickly, that you know that you're capable of, that you just haven't gotten started on it yet, but you can see it? Have you ever, and before you even answer that, when was the last time, or maybe it was yesterday, where you saw someone that was doing something and you know that they were mediocre or inferior compared to you? And you're like, but they have all those followers, or they accomplished XYZ thing. And you like, that stuff ain't shit. I can't believe this. There is nothing better about the other person. There is only their own belief in themselves. And or their willingness. That's about it. Divide the world and be unapologetic. Go claim what's yours and be unapologetic. Be clear and honest about what you want and allow yourself to desire and be selfish about it. Yes, you should want, and yes, you should want for you. You don't need to want for your whole family. You need to want for your damn self. And then yes, later you can want for your family once you're whole, once you're full, once you've been poured into, once you're completely satisfied at 105%. 10 people at $2,000, $20,000. 10 people at $5,000, $50,000. 10 people at $10,000 is $100,000. 10 people at $25,000 is $250,000. Everybody can sell to 10 people. Even if you've never even started a business before, you can ask 10 people in your neighborhood, church, community, city, town, county, state. You have 10 people there. I know it. I want you to go build something and build something that'll last. I want you to get very focused and intentional and not waste time. Because right now, I believe we're in the greatest opportunity amongst one of the greatest opportunities that I've ever lived. I've been selling, building, doing things for 20 years, and I don't think there's ever been a better time to be on the internet, to build your own audience, to become the expert than there is right now. Because instantly there are platforms just like TikTok that are not driven on friends. They're not driven on algorithms that have to do with the community and who you're connected to and who likes you. It is simply, purely based on interest. Interest. You can go from nobody to somebody in literally 48 hours. Interest. Interest. The real reason why I'm here before I end this moment is because I'm very selfish. There's a lot of people that I know need help, and I am pacing the floor, figuring out the formula to help people that just need to personally develop. But I can't do it on my own, and I need you on the front lines. It makes me sad to think of going to this, doing all of this work to not get to the goal. Doesn't it make you sad? Being clear about what you want and unapologetic and then telling the world about it is the way. The answer is not to be quiet about it. Keep it to yourself so that it's private. That is the biggest trash. I used to get told all the time, especially when I started trying to drink, Tiffany, don't tell people because what if it doesn't happen? Why are you putting that on me? No, I need to tell everybody about it because everybody's going to help me make it happen. Starting with myself. Intention. Every day I ask, starting with today, as you listen to this, to set an intention for yourself about what you want, how you're feeling, what you need to get to your next level, what's in your way. But I want you to turn yourself into the expert that you know that you can be. And that's going to start with you telling your story. The days of you making excuses and not knowing how and the resources is out the game. Nobody needs training on how to push the red button on TikTok and then just keep talking until the thing shuts off. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are fancy ways, but literally and truly, you just press the red button and it starts recording. You're done. And then you press submit. There's not much to it. It's like that on every platform. Tiffany, I really don't know how to do that. That's just too overwhelming. Okay, great, fine. Get the yellow pages and start calling everybody that's in your zip code. Do it that way. I don't care the method that you use. I just want you to get moving. And if you're like, man, I can't do it on my own, great, I hear you. Then you need to be in a community. As I bring this to a quick end, and I say to you honestly, if not now, when? I know you have already spent the money, you have already done the thing, you've already been to the event, you have already ... Are you really telling me that you're going to let all of that stuff stand in your way from not getting to your goal? I don't care if you have to do it 100 times. Let's look at it a little bit differently. In this life, you get to the goal. If you have to go through 100 more ways of it not working just for the opportunity of being in front of the yes when it does happen and you hit your multiple back-to-back home runs, yes, then it's worth it. We can go through 200. We could go through 300. We could go through 500 times of the no's and the things that don't work to get to what we want to get to, because most people live this life and they don't even have a shot at getting to what they want to get to. And the fact that you're here with me at this moment lets me know at its absolute core that you're doing more than the other people, that you're a cut above the rest. You're in the top 20%. Because you're making the effort. And as many times as you've gotten down or you felt down and you were on the ground and you're like, I can't do this again, I promise you, feeling like I'm coming back from the dead twice, you can. We were built for this. I don't want anyone to tell you any different. You and I, we were built for this. So what if we have the obstacles? We've got this. We were made for this. We were made for this.